Hi guys, Brain here and welcome to another commentary video. Today I wanted to talk about how I feel about the toxicity video craze that seems to be always have been popular in the Dead by Daylight community and how I feel about them. And you know, if you followed this video for a long time, it's going to be no secret to you how I feel about them, but I kind of wanted to put those feelings in somewhere concrete, kind of like we did with the gaming balance principles, because it's something I say a lot, but I don't really like have a video dedicated to it. So I wanted to talk about it. And initially, this video came about because I had actually filmed, recorded, and fully edited and put out a video referencing a specific streamer and what I believe to be kind of like the part of the problem with toxicity videos. But I felt like that was in really, really poor taste because I feel like if I'm trying to avoid, hurting or bringing any negativity to anybody and trying to keep things as positive as possible, I feel like even in a proper example of what I believe to be wrong with toxicity, it could definitely be taken the wrong way. It could be taken as aggressive or negative and may hurt that person and potentially worse, have their community come after our community. And I don't want any harm to come to you guys, even if it's just emotional over something like that. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to rephrase and put out this video instead, talking about just at length kind of the examples without using any names or specific clips or anything like that, like I did in the other video. So yeah, go ahead and get started. So toxicity videos are a weird and strange gray area that it's hard to decide whether they're good or not, because they often come in this idea of just like a moral high ground and laughing at somebody who has a moral low ground. A good example is a lot of streamers will go to check the VOD of someone else's stream that they've played with, find out that streamer has said something pretty awful about them, calling them names, calling them insults, cussing at them, hopefully not slurs, but that happens too, unfortunately. They've said some pretty awful stuff about them. So in order to kind of bring them down and kind of like get back at them, they put out a video highlighting their bad behavior, because that causes two things. First, public humiliation. So they're having receiving some sort of justice, quote unquote justice, or punishment for their actions, because they, had in a sense gotten away with it by just doing it in kind of this small vacuum of their stream and then moving on with their day. So now that's a solid form of punishment in the form of public humiliation. And second off, it's a way to take that pain back that you felt when you heard them say that awful thing about you. Is, okay, well, now I'm going to put this video up on my YouTube, and that's going to get me views. That's going to get me, ad revenue because people are watching it. If it's monetized, essentially, I'm going to get that pain back. I'm taking that pain back. I'm making a video for me that's going to benefit me because of the pain that you caused me by making me listen to you. Well, not making you, but you know what I'm saying. Because of the hurtful things that you said about me, I'm turning that negative into a positive for me. And I think that's where a lot of toxicity videos do have a leg to stand on, is that there's a lot of times where somebody will say something really awful or really terrible to you in the end game, and there's kind of just like no comeuppance for it. They're just allowed to say that awful, terrible thing, and they just go into the sunset, and there's nothing for it, right? There's nothing for it. There's nothing. They get away with it, essentially. It's like Jesse in Breaking Bad. They keep getting away with it. It's like that, Like, it's so upsetting to see them get away with it all the time. So it's like this way a content creator could get back at someone who's being an awful person. And I think that's where a lot of these have a leg to stand on. When I see a video, one of these toxicity videos, and it's of somebody like literally using way out of line insults, completely overreacting, making it personal over a video game, and then they get exposed, quote unquote, it's like, it doesn't feel as bad and it doesn't feel weird. And a lot of people rally around seeing bad people get their just desserts, getting what they deserve, as the Joker put it. But I think my problem with toxicity videos is that toxicity in itself is a very, very broad term. And it's one that I feel like that it's so subjective that people have so many vastly different definitions of what toxicity is. I think a good example is recently when I was on stream, I had somebody come into my stream insulting my viewer count and being awful to me because I came back to hook a lot. Keep in mind, I was playing Legion, and the whole point of playing Legion is to Feral Frenzy, which is to see the killer instinct after you hit the first person and go to the next person and then go to the next person and then go to the next person, hopefully get that fifth down so you actually get it down. But that's if you've played Legion, that's really hard, but that's what you do. But that person came in after that match deciding to insult me personally and insult my work and insult me in my Twitch home and the work I had put into Twitch, because I was coming back to hook, and in their mind that was toxic. So therefore I deserved to be made fun of and made to feel lesser because I came back to hook. In their mind, that was what toxicity was. To me, I feel like toxicity can't include things that happen inside the game that aren't like very, very clear BMing. Like, obviously, if you're slapping somebody, if you're standing at the hook and slapping somebody on hook for like 10 minutes until they die in a face camp, like that person's like trying to get a rise out of you, right? I don't think we need to like clearly, I think that's like pretty obvious. I don't think we need to talk about that, right? But who cares if I came back to hook trying to use my power? Who cares? But to that person that it would be considered toxicity would be, you know, on par with like insulting their personal appearance, insulting them as a person, insulting the work that they put into their content. Like, it's the same thing to them. It's like that was a personal slight. Me coming back to hook to get more frenzy hits to them was a personal attack, and that was what they would consider toxicity. And that's what I run into a lot when I watch these toxicity channels that put up toxicity content nonstop. Not very, very often, it doesn't stay restrained to just this person was actually treating someone else like garbage. Somebody personally was being rude, awful, and cruel to another person, and we want to bring awareness to poor behavior. That's so often not what it remains limited to. So often it boils over into, well, he proxy camped me, so he's toxic, or oh, he puddled me, so he's toxic, or he run force slowdown, so he's toxic. You know, like the way people expand this definition makes toxicity content really awful, because all of a sudden having like tens of thousands of people making fun of a single person now doesn't feel good. Now it's become a mob, because you're seeking them after a person not because they treated another person awfully, because they bullied them. Now you're seeking them off of a person because of a gameplay style in a video game, which is not earned and it is not deserved at all. Not earned, not deserved at all. Just because somebody proxy camps in a video game does not mean they need to be publicly humiliated by tens of thousands of people so you can make a quick buck on YouTube. That is not morally good. That is morally bankrupt. The only thing that I will say, just to allude to the situation that even caused to make this video, is one of the major defenses I've seen of this that was made by the person I initially made this video about, was that they said it was a supply and demand situation. That it didn't matter because it was supply and demand. It did not matter because it was supply and demand. And I think that that's pretty dark. That's pretty bleak for me to hear, that it doesn't matter if, say, a person is actually, you know, calling somebody a horrible insult or a slur versus they four-man slugged somebody in a video game, or they slugged for the 4K in a video game. And the fact that these are treated on the same level, and as long as the supply and demand begs for it, both of these people for some reason are treated as equals in terms of deserving public humiliation, because that's what it is. It's public humiliation, whether you like it or not. So putting these two same people on the same moral ground when they're not. Clearly the person who is willing to be some sort of phobic or ism or just a big bully is definitely way lower than the person who just happened to play sweaty one match of Dead by Daylight. Clearly this person is not deserving of the amount of harassment and public humiliation that a lot of these YouTube channels thrive on, whereas like this person who is actually an awful human being definitely does. But so many of these YouTubers do not make that distinction, and it comes down to this. I see these YouTubers post these videos, and they get tens of thousands of views. They sell like hotcakes, they really do, because who doesn't like seeing somebody get what they deserve? People love seeing justice served because justice is so often not served in real life. So it feels good to see somebody mean get what they deserve. But I'll tell you, when I see their YouTube channels, when I go into their library, because I go into their full library, I'm not just looking at the one video I watched and making a reaction. I look at multiple videos. I watched multiple videos for the previous video I made that I didn't put out. And some videos they had, like I said, are of somebody's actually saying something terrible, and the other ones are like, oh, well, that person hated that they camped, and they did camp, and they're allowed to dislike a playstyle in a video game. But they were treated as the same as somebody who's being awful and insulting. But furthermore, the point of this being is that I look at other YouTube videos of them putting out like brand new Wesker. Wesker's the brand new killer. And they're in those videos, they get like 1,000, if that. I know that sounds funny coming from me because I rarely have a video that hits 1,000 views, but to go from tens of thousands of people watching your content going down to like 1,000, that's a huge drop. That is a huge amount of people who tune in for your toxicity content that just do not give a darn at all about the rest of your content. That's literally 9,000 plus people that just don't come back for the rest of your videos. And that's all they care about, is watching people get their just desserts and watch people get their comeuppance. So that's why you see so many people stretch their definition of what toxicity entails, because it turns out if you try to build your channel to, I don't even say like not even fully around like toxicity content, but around like half, just having it be a large part of your content, having it be toxicity content, like you got to keep making that stuff. You got to keep putting out toxicity content to keep your viewer base, because that's all they're going to stick around for. So you expand your definition of what you consider toxic to somebody just complaining about playstyles in the game and treating them on the same, putting them on the same like treatment pedestal that you would somebody who's actually a terrible person, because your money's going away when you're not making that, and it's morally bankrupt. That's also why you see a lot of DBD YouTubers play in very, how shall we put this, very provoking ways. We'll do that. It's very provocative ways. Like they're trying to run them like starstruck nurse with the most oppressive build and slugging every chance they get and like nodding at you on hook and maybe giving you a little hook slap. And then they just say, oh, GG's. In the after chat, oh, GG's. And then they act, oh, surprise Pikachu face. Or if somebody gets mad, they're like, oh, bam, there's my content. Because running an entire channel or running a large part of a channel on toxicity content, toxicity doesn't happen all the time. A lot of the toxicity in DBD is vastly exaggerated. I had a really bad day recently on stream where I had toxic gamers almost every match, and it was really awful. That was like the first day I'd had day I'd had matches like that in like 3 weeks, something like that. If I tried to make toxicity content naturally, just only off of people who were actually toxic, I'd have to like milk that one day that I'd had in 3 weeks that was super toxic, like for months, to be able to float my channel. So these DBD YouTubers have to play in a way that provokes those reactions, because making a channel off of toxicity, or at least even a larger part off of toxicity, is not sustainable. So they have to essentially bait these reactions and then, play victim when the reaction happens. And they're just like, oh, well, they're the bad guys. And they often don't post the match in its full entirety that happened, that obviously kind of like led the person to reacting in the way that they did, because that would frame them in a poor light as well. But yeah, that's kind of like my full thoughts on what I feel about toxicity videos. I feel like there's a slim group of them that I feel like have a good idea about what to do and have good intentions where it comes to actually exposing bullies in the community and actually trying to speak out against bad treatment that I think this community has a lot of. But I feel like for the most part, it's just a money-making scheme. It's like the person said, it's supply and demand. It's just about farming views. It's about farming money. It's about having a moral high horse and extorting people. It's one of those things where you really do find diamonds in the rough when you actually do find somebody who almost exclusively makes content calling out bad behavior versus people who are just kind of calling out anything that even slightly not positive just so they can make as much money as possible. And it's why I can't really fully endorse videos like that, and why you won't see videos like that on this channel unless it's like something like relevant to a point I'm trying to make, because extorting people for money it's hard to make that sound good or work well. It's hard to make that not sound bad. So yeah. Oh, before we leave, yeah, I can't believe I didn't talk about this. A lot of these toxicity streamers as well don't really edit their videos that much. I want to point that out as well. Trust me, there's a belief out there that people spread. No, homie, I upload on the daily. I do. I upload daily YouTube videos. I upload every single day. So, and I'm putting out, and it's not just these commentary videos. I'm putting out more high effort videos as well. I'm putting in 1-hour compilations. I'm putting out like actual edited build matches. I'm putting out actual like video essays now. Like I'm putting out other stuff too. It's not just the talk in front of the camera and call it a day videos, which is what, even those are hard to edit because I gotta find the music. I gotta find the match, put the match up there, size the match, put the shadows behind it, do all that stuff, and make sure all that the sound. I gotta audio balance the way I'm talking so it doesn't sound awful. And sometimes that's hard because it'll be like 90 degrees. And I have to have the fan on, and I gotta edit the fan out the best I can. And sometimes it doesn't work out the best. Like there's a lot that goes in even to these videos that are probably the easiest for me to make. Editing videos is hard. But I'll tell you what's not hard is putting your stream up top on the first track and then clipping their stream and putting it on the second track and just swapping back and forth. That's not difficult. That is not difficult. That's one thing that a lot of these toxicity people that upload like mostly toxicity content hide behind, is that because they're taking clips from other channels, there's usually the question of like, well, this is low effort content and it's lazy. And they say, no, it actually takes a lot of editing to do that. And as somebody who literally has to upload daily, that's not hard. Swapping between the two Twitch clips, that's not hard. It's literally easier than what I do. It's easier than these commentary videos. It is tremendously easy. Don't let them lie to you. That crap is so easy, and that is a fallacy. They are not telling the truth when they tell you that that's hard. Trust me, I edit every day. I know. What they're doing is not difficult. That is a lie to you. Yeah, it's been almost like a full video. This is like a rant. A rant. We might call it a rant, huh? Because like even though it was a little bit more structured and it was based off a video I'd already made, I kind of talked about it. So we might just call it a rant video, right? So if I can bring down my final thoughts here, just maybe even one word, is that I feel like a lot of toxicity content is dishonest. There's a lot of dishonesty surrounding these videos, so I can't ever fully comfortably endorse these. So yeah, what do you think about toxicity videos? Let me know down in the comments below. That's gonna be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in tomorrow's video, but if I do not, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.